Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got the tank review for the brand new premium tier 8 wheeled light tank, the Panhard EBR 75 MLE 1954. Now this is a French light tank that is actually different to the normal light tanks because it has wheels. Now I'm going to get this out of the way straight away. This tank is not worth it in the slightest. I could not recommend it, especially if you're newer to the game or you're not that adept at light tanks. This is especially not the tank for you. This tank it has a lot of nuances to it. It takes a hell of a lot to get used to it and to actually be able to even play it. And to be honest, even when you do kind of understand how to play it, which you still get a little bit confused about it, it's not very good. Okay, and to be honest, there's a lot of light tanks out there that will do a hell of a lot better than this light tank will. Because there's a lot of things that draw this thing back, and it's just an absolute pain, to be honest. And like I said, there's so many light tanks out there that will do the same job as this tank, but just even better. Because, like, the max speed of this thing is 60 kilometers an hour, or you can go into the drive mode, which goes up to 75 kilometers an hour. Now, that is quick, sure, but your maneuverability in turning is very, very little. You don't turn very, very quickly in that other mode. And a tank like the Batchat 12T, which is its French tier 8 competitor, has a better gun, has a better clip potential, reloads slower, but generally goes at 68 kilometers an hour and doesn't have to switch modes to gain some sort of different mobility. Also has way better view range. So it just generally does better than this tank. And yeah, this tank is a struggle, honestly. I have not enjoyed it in the slightest, and I can't recommend it to anyone at all. And you'll see that when you get to the gameplay. So let's go into the stats anyway. And 180 APCR pen, which isn't too bad for a tier 8 light tank when you're thinking there's quite a few at 175 and others at 180 as well. But it does have a hell of a lot of pen drop off on its APCR. It's something like 140 pen over 500 meters, 400 meters, something like that. It gets 220 heat pen, which obviously it keeps all the way, but the velocity is very slow on that heat round, and it's got 75mm of HE pen, which is really good actually for fighting other light tanks. If you were to see another EBR in your EBR, just load this HE clip, which it does, to its credit, reload very, very quickly, and you'll be able to decimate them with 260 alpha on the HE. It's 175 alpha on the standard 75mm APCR round, which is not too bad, and it is a double tap autoloader. It fires 2 shells and then reloads and double tap. And the double tap is definitely nice, but like I say, it's just being able to use this mobility. It's just incredibly awkward with a controller. And yeah, 950 horsepower? Horsepower, not horsepower. Hit points. 950 hit points. Not that great, realistically, but not many lights do have that much, to be honest. Like I say, it's 60 kilometers an hour in the cruise mode, and in the drive mode, it gets up to 75 kilometers an hour, which there is no way of showing you in this stats because, yeah, for some reason they haven't built in a thing to show you. Vision range, 310 meters is absolute garbage. This tank is designed to be an active scout. It's not designed to be able to get to a bush and then play bushwalkie and spot out. 310 meters view range is abysmal. It is so poor. You will have to utilize having vents and optics and situational awareness, and Brothers in Arms, or Born Leader as it is now called, and food, to be able to get anywhere decent view range with that, and it's not even going to be that decent. That's where I'm on about the other light tanks will decimate you. Now, these wheeled light tanks are hated on PC because when you shoot them, you will, more often than not, shoot the wheels and just do wheel damage and you won't pen them. And the fact that these tanks can hit a lot of shots on the move really easily and are quite hard to hit because of how fast they go. Well, on console, every single tank is really accurate, so they hit you all the time, and that is a pain. And I will tell you that for a fact. You just get hit all the time because tanks are incredibly accurate on console. Every single tank is just so much more accurate than it is on PC. So, I mean, they're all at least like 30% more accurate if you just count vert stabs and the crew skill steady aim. Which means that it's just everyone can hit these shots at these tanks. And if you're in another light tank, other light tanks will RBRT you and hit you most times. And you will struggle because if you're in drive mode, the bloom on the gun is massive. and you will struggle to hit the other light tanks. So this tank can't even really active scout that well, because it gets hit all the time really easily. So that view range, it doesn't matter. It does have really good camo at 0.35, which you can buff up with the camo net and the crew skills, which will make you really invisible, which is really nice. It is a really nice factor of the tank. There's so many times you can fire and not get spotted, which is great. But for the most part, that view range is abysmal, and it kills it as well as the mobility. The mobility is awful to handle. And that's why I'd recommend it only for the more sort of skilled players if they wanted to pick this tank up, because if you struggle with driving, generally, you will not do very well with this tank. So, rate of fire, 10.91 rounds a minute rate of fire. It's not bad. 9.5 second reload for a double tap is fantastic. 1.2 aim time is fantastic. I mean, that is the best in the game. Near enough. I think that's better than Waffle 100 even, which had one of the better ones. That's fantastic. The problem is getting your tank into position to be able to use it and then be able to fire, not get spotted, and then get out of dodge. Honestly, I'd say the mobility is the thing that kills it. I couldn't recommend it for anyone. The injury clip at 1.5 is decent. 74 rounds of ammo. 0.38 accuracy is a little bit derpy, but again, crew skills make everything really accurate. 8 degrees of gun depression is good. No armor, but it is a light tank. 66 degrees a second traverse speed when you are using the drive mode. Now, rapid mode, it's a lot slower than that, and it doesn't turn very quickly. My big problem with this tank is it overturns, and you will see that in the video, well, I say in the replays. It tends to overturn. You tap your stick to the right or left, and it will swing out. That's just how quick it traverses. And unfortunately, that makes it really unwieldy and just horrible to use. 525 horsepower, 35 horsepower per ton. Ridiculous, to be honest. 60 kilometers an hour, yep. 75 kilometers an hour top forward speed in the rapid mode, like I say, yep. And that's the one thing about these tanks as well, is sometimes it's better to reverse. And I have been making that mistake of where I've tried to go forward and traverse and turn to get away, when realistically my best bet is just to revert full speed reverse backwards, and I will get out of dodge easier. Because the tank does go backwards at the top speed of the forward speed. So if tank goes forward at 60 kilometers an hour, it goes back at 60 kilometers an hour. Forward at 75 kilometers an hour, it goes back at 75 kilometers an hour. So your ability to reverse backwards and then just drive it like you were driving forwards is great. And that is something that you will have to utilise to make the most of this tank. The traverse speed on the track, so that was the turret traverse speed I was on about there. It's 6 degrees a second on its track traverse, which is still ridiculous. Like I say, it tends to overturn a lot, which is pain. The terrain resistance isn't too bad. It has no penalty for changing modes. The only penalty you have is you slow down by about 5 kilometers an hour. So while you're driving at full speed at 75 kilometers an hour, you can just change to the other mode to become more accurate. So when you're doing a drive-by, the best thing you could do is go, right, okay, I want to get that tank, so I'm going to switch into the drive mode, or the cruise mode as it's called, get more accurate, drop both shots in as I drive past. It makes it easier to hit the shells, and then automatically change straight back into the rapid mode and zoom off. You can do that. You will be a bit slower when you change into the rapid mode, but then you just zoom. So that is something that you could do. But yeah, this tank, it's not for the untrained hands. That's the best way I can put it. So if you aren't if you're fairly new to the game, this is not a light tank you want to buy. This is not a tank you want to waste your gold on. There's so many other tanks that you will be better off buying. And even for more skilled hands and more older heads in playing this game, in terms of veterans, still, you're better off just to go get something like a HWK-30 or a Vanguard, actually. Even if you're talking about premiums, the Vanguard does the job of a Panhard EBR. Does the same job, but even better, because it's got better camo, it's got similar mobility if you put the powertrain on, or the traction system, I should say, and it hits the same amount of shots, and it has an autoloader, and it's incredibly hard to hit. So, yeah, I couldn't recommend getting the EBR at all. It's not a fun tank to play, to be honest, because the mobility is horrible. But yeah, I'm going to just use the power of OBS and flick over to the garage, and here it is in the garage. Now, this is the skin that you can get with the tank if you get the top bundle or the middle bundle. It's an okay skin. It's not bad. It's got a face. It's got a sinister looking face. But there you go. So, what crew do I run, or have I been running in this tank? Well, in this tank, I have been running, if we can get it to find the crew, Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Trap Mechanic, Steady Aim, Run and Gun, Camouflage Expertise, and Muffled Shot. Now, you might be going, why have you got Trap Mechanic on a tank that's got wheels? Well, Trap Mechanic still works for the tank with wheels, because what happens is when you get shot in the wheels, you can't get tracked, and you will not stop, okay? So, if you're doing 75 kilometers an hour and someone shoots you in the wheel, you will immediately drop to something like 40 kilometers an hour, and you lose all traverse speed. So you can use your repair kit to get the wheel back on, but if you end up in the time frame where you've got no repair kit and someone damages your wheel, if you don't have anything to repair that wheel quickly enough, it's just going to be a pain because you're not going to be able to traverse anywhere. The likelihood is you're going to slow down to a poopy speed. You're going to lose all your hit points really quickly. So you want Trap Mechanic to just get that wheel repaired quick as possible to get going again. Because, yeah, it's pain. Once this thing... Because it is one thing, right? You do take hits, and they do damage your wheels, and therefore you don't take any damage yourself. But the thing is, they literally limit your speed down to 40 kilometers an hour, and you do lose all of your traverse, your wheel traverse, completely. So it just means that you can't really turn left or right. You end up driving in a straight line at 40 kilometers an hour, and depending on where you are on the map, or what map you're on, or whatever, that can be really awkward and can just lead to your death within seconds. So yeah, that's why I run Trap Mechanic, just so you can get it back on as quickly as possible if you're in that situation where you've not got the repair kit. Camo, because like I said, the camo is ridiculous on this tank, so you want to be able to make the camo better. Run and Gun and Steady Aim, because you want to make your tank 10% more accurate, and to be honest, if you're going to be firing this tank, there's a lot of times you're going to be doing a drive-by, you want to be 10% more accurate while firing on the move. Rapid Reload. To be honest, you could, I mean, it reloads quick enough, you could drop Rapid Reload and try and put something else on. So you could put Snapshot on to make the gun better, or you could put Green Thumb on to make yourself even more stealthy in bushes, or you could put the other repair skill on to make sure you get that wheel back on as quickly as possible. Because honestly, I cannot stress to you how painful it is when you get that wheel knocked out. It has led to my death many occasions in playing this tank. So, yeah, there's so many things you could do with this tank. So I run, in terms of equipment, I run optics, vents, and a camo net as well. Because if you run the camo net, you see the steel concealment's down to 242 meters. That is absolutely fantastic. It's 301 without... I don't know why No, we don't want to do that. I mean, I may feel like doing that, but I don't want to do that. Let's get rid of the camo net. 281 meters of steel concealment. Without it, you could definitely try to run without that and put a powertrain on it, but I would just recommend going with the camo net. Make your camo as good as possible, because you can't drop the vents or the optics because your view range is horrendous, and you need to make the view range as good as possible. Okay, because it is a light tank. The whole point of it is to spot, right? And if you can't spot, what's the point? So having vents and optics to get the view range pumped up as high as possible is exactly what you want. Have the camo net to have your camo as beastly as possible, because if you put on the powertrain, the best you can get out of it is 62 kilometers an hour instead of 60, or it's 78 kilometers an hour out of 75 in the other mode. And while that is quick, it's still a pain in the bum to use and to drive, and having the camo net is most definitely just better to have. Let's have a look at the velocities for you as well while we're here. So you've got 1,300 meters a second velocity on the APCR, and then you've got to just note that using the heat and the HE, the shell velocity is a hell of a lot worse. It drops down to 850, which isn't great. So when you switch to those, just note that you've got to lead your shots a little bit better, especially when you switch to firing at light tanks with the HE, because the HE is very deadly to light tanks. You just need to make sure you lead your shots more. So yeah, that's the EBR. I can't recommend it for people to buy. It's just an absolute pain to use. You've really, really got to get used to it. And even then, there is so many situations where the other light tanks are just flat out better than you. It's what it is. So, without a doubt, I couldn't recommend buying it for anyone. So, I'm going to send you over to the replays anyway, show off on the replays, and I hope you enjoy them. So, I'll see you over there. And we're on to the first game of the wheelie era. And we're in the EBR, obviously. And we're on Sound River. And yeah, oh, this tank, it's a bit of a pain. It's just one of those things, when you're in cruise mode, it just overturns quite often. Like, you'll flick the stick to the left and it just swings left. And you just want it to make a slight turn and it just doesn't go. And it's the same when you turn right. You go into cruise mode and then the tank just doesn't turn at all. And it just goes top speed. And as you saw there, randomly when you switch modes, it just kind of swivels. Don't know why, it just turns by itself. It's a right pain. But we've come to this position at G5, and really, I shouldn't have come here. Because this position is fairly useless for me, because I have no view range. That means that I can't spot anyone along the K line. I can spot the people in their base if I try to, or I can get shots at people like the T-92. But there's not much I can do from this position, not like a general light. Obviously, I can get shots at people like where the medium tank is at K8. I could do that. But yeah, it's not the most useful of positions for this tank because it doesn't have the V range. Now, I'll try and get the Progetto with the HE. I did have the HE loaded for the light tank, who YOLO'd over behind me for reasons I don't quite understand. But he did, and he's dead now. And yeah, so I loaded HE for him, 75mm of HE pen, which is great for light tanks. Firing at Progetto, not so much. I just wanted a chance trying to pen his lower plate, and it didn't quite work out. But now I'm going to just try and YOLO across. We get a nice shot on the move into the KV-3 and then ricochet off him. And you see, we're in drive, or rapid mode as they call it. Look at the gun when it was blooming. It's blooming all over the place, and I was still hitting shots anyway, because it's just with just cruise skills and that, you can just do that. But then, as well as that, there's the other flip side of the coin, and the shots we just did at the Progetto there. The Progetto, we didn't hit him once. So this is where we are actually reversing now. So you can see we still have the speed even when reversing. The aim time is really good, and that is one plus point, is that the fact that the aim time is really good. So if you want to stay in this rapid mode to keep speed, if you stop, your aim circle will just become really small really quickly. You can get the shots in, and it's not like the CS63 where if you're in the rapid mode and you fire, then it blooms up and becomes massive. It just doesn't really change, and you can get the shots in. So you can see here, look how quickly it's aiming in. Aim, 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 and we're ready. Slap the shots in. Like I say, it doesn't bloom much after firing either. Now, we can just about spot these guys because they're just in our view range. But the thing is, we have fantastic camo, and as you've seen here, we've been able to fire without penalty against these guys and not get spotted. We're up to 832 damage, 1200 assistance. Normally we might have a bit more assistance against these guys, but unfortunately there's not really anyone in a position to shoot. Now we've got a few more shots into that Tiger P. I'm like, right, okay, I'm going to go spot these guys. I want to go try and spot them and try and get some more shots in. So I'm going to go this way and try and go around that way through their cap. But then we spot the AMX AC-48, and it's like, oh, okay, that guy's there. Hesitate a little bit, but decide, you know what, no, I'm going in. Right there, when I fired, I should have switched to the cruise mode, I think it's called. Should have switched to the cruise mode, because then I would have been more accurate to shoot into the VK-4503. I actually drove in front of the VK-4503, so I was like, hello, I'm here, hi, just to see if he noticed me. He finally did. We get some nice shots into the side of the MX AC-48, who is Armour, as we can see from the top left corner. And we actually go, oh, there's a Draug in here, let me get some shots into him. That's the accuracy on the move in the rapid mode. If you don't, again, when I fired at that Draug, it takes a lot of thinking, a lot of effort to make the most of this tank. Because realistic there, I should have thought, right, Dragon, I can get shots at the back of this guy. I either stop, fully aim the shots, or switch with no penalty straight to the cruise mode and be able to get the accuracy in. So right now we are actually in the cruise mode because I know I want the accuracy to shoot these guys. We shut down the Tiger P with shots into his lower plate, and now we've got the VK-4503 in front of us. We shut him down, and now there's just the AC-48. I'm going to swivel around. As you can see, when you're in the cruise mode, it really does swing around. Unfortunately, we end up missing that shell, and then we get another shell into the top of his tank because he does have big fat spots to shoot. You can see with this tank, though, the reload is actually pretty damn diddly decent. We're up to 1,800 assistance, 2.4k damage, and just look at the reload, right? This is a strength for the tank. It's not 4.5 seconds, it's like 8 seconds. This is a strength for the tank, right? The reload is fantastic. If you can get this double tap going, you can get to a position where you can keep firing, keep using the double tap, keep reloading. It's great. And we're coming after this EBR here. Unfortunately, that one misses. I don't quite know where it went. And then we miss the... we penned the second shot, sorry. Now, he's ended up stopping, swiveling round. I thought he was going to carry on and drive that way. So I ended up missing my shot there, which is really unfortunate. But it is what it is. There's only 2 tanks left. There's the heavy tank in the middle that gets killed. And then there is a light tank. So we're going to go into the rapid mode to get up that top speed and try and go after this light tank. We know where he was. He was up in this A-line area. So I want to go up into the A-line and see if he's just hiding in this corner at A0, because he could well be. And if I can get over there to get some shots into him, that would be great. But yeah, this tank takes a lot of knowledge and a lot of effort to try and make the most of. And there's a lot of times where you've seen it in this game where by not switching modes, not thinking about it, we don't make the most of it. And as you can see, it's quite easy to make mistakes with your driving in this tank. Oh dear. So what happened there is I was going at 75 kilometers an hour, and just before the edge of that ridge line, I ended up hitting a little bump which flicked the tank, and we ended up smashing into the ground because my driving... I'm not very good at driving on this game, and then even more so with wheelies. It's a bit of a problem. Unfortunately, I didn't record the end of that battle, but it's just a little bit... It's one of those games that showed off the mobility of it and showed off what you need to be doing when you are driving around in it. Showed off some of the weaknesses of it and also some of the strengths of the double tap and stuff like that. So, we're on the second game, and we're on Redshire, and right here, we're going to try and... again, spot out and get shots in, but realistically the position we've taken again is not good enough because we don't have the view range, and it's a major drawback for the tank, because the reason is, right, it's got low view range because it's supposed to be quick, it's supposed to be maneuverable, harder to hit, have great camo. It's supposed to be able to get to those extremely aggressive bushes to be able to spot out and stay unspotted, or play extremely active. But it does struggle with playing extremely active when everybody is so accurate and everybody tends to hit you even on the move. And that's just a pain. That's a pain that all light tanks feel. And if the tank is designed to play like that, and it really can't because just pain, then it's going to struggle. Now this M60 here decides to come after us. Absolutely no idea why. He ends up shooting us, and there is something that I wanted to use this replay for. He shot us in the side and ended up only doing wheel damage. He took the wheel out, which slowed us down, but obviously we have the repair kit, so we got the wheel back in straight away, no penalty. If you're out in the open running about, say if you're in the field on Mali, and that happened to you, you'd lose your traverse, and you'd lose all your speed, which would not be good. Now here's where the HE is good, except for the fact that we didn't hit the second shot. We hit him for 283, and we can double tap that shell really quickly, and get big damage into the FE4005 if we wanted to with those HE rounds. That's what's nice about how quick this reload is on the autoloader as well, because it means you can really change what shells you need to fire with no real penalty. It's a 7-second reload. It's 7 seconds for the... well, 10 seconds altogether for 300. It's not great, but at the same time, it's not bad for an autoloader. It's fine. So we're in an awkward situation here, and that is we know where the FE4005 was. He's over there somewhere. Wait, he's at A, D, B, C, 7, which he's actually currently spotted at. And I knew I couldn't go on the outside because well, I don't want to get one shot by that guy. And now we are facing these medium tanks and that are at D4. Now, I should have been in the cruise mode to have the better gun handling when I was popping out there. I didn't need the speed at all, so I should be switching to the cruise mode right now instead of being in rapid mode. This is a mistake, and it's one that everyone's going to make, and it's one that I've made a few times already playing this tank, is I need to be more considerate in what I'm doing with which mode I'm using. So right now, by the way, I'm actually reversing. So this is me driving the tank in reverse. And you see, the speed is fine. You've just got to sort of get used to how you are driving when you're driving in reverse. So right now, I want to be able to get some shots into this E75, because he's stopping me from being able to encircle these medium tanks and heavy tanks. So we get up behind the E75, we've got the heat rounds loaded because it's the only way we're going to pen him. We slap both rounds in, and I'm like, yes, I'm going to get to kill this guy. This guy is going to be gone. He got unspotted. I get spotted because I drive too far up on the ridgeline, get spotted by mediums. The view range is not good enough. Again, we are completely let down by the view range. We cannot spot that E75. We just couldn't see him. And then we actually ended up getting shot there. Fortunately enough, managed to get away. But when that guy damaged our wheel, we ended up like sort of careering towards the rock too much and crashing into it. Luckily enough, we managed to get away. We're up to 1,800 damage, 323 assistance. We actually flick round, which wasn't intentional. The tank just flicked itself round for no good reason. But it worked out. It made it look great, and it was good effect. And now we're driving forwards again. We're going to try and get some flanking shots at this Inferno. He ends up hitting us, but it's like, okay, no, I need to get safe from this Inferno now. Make it so I can get unspotted and then poke out and get some shots into him. So we use these buildings for cover. Wait until we're unspotted. Go into the cruise mode for the better accuracy. And now we can get some shots into the side of the Inferno's turret. We pen one, we bounce the other. So now he's going to start looking at me. I think, right, okay, they're going to start looking at me. Screw these mediums. I want the artillery. We start loading Heichi. It's like, artillery's next. It's like, oh, okay, maybe I'm next for the artillery. Fortunately enough, we slam both shells into the lower plate of that artillery. The GW Tiger Pig. Oh, no, it's a GW Tiger in general. Shut him down. We're up to 2.7k damage. And there's just this Dragon left on the enemy team. And we can't get any shots into him. Unfortunately, he runs away. But it was another nice game for the EBR. Decent game. We end up with the victory. 2 kills, 2.7k damage, nearly 2.8k damage, 528 assistance. Confederate, first class, 1555 base XP. Now, I'm gonna pose this to you, right? In that game, we're in the EBR. If we're in a batch at 12T, would we have done more there? I think we probably would have done. Because there was nothing we didn't do in that game that another tank like the batch at 12T or another light tank in general at tier 8 wouldn't have been able to do. And effectively, they would have been able to spot some of the tanks even easier than we were able to there with, like, the E75, for example. The E75 just disappeared because we didn't have the view range to spot him. Batch at 12T probably would have been able to do better in that situation. Vanguard, even better. Vanguard, because it's got the camo and everything, the Vanguard would have done more in that situation. And in all of these replays, it's pretty much like that. So we're on the third replay and the final replay with my commentary on it. And we're on Lakeville. And I'm taking an aggressive bush. Because I don't have the view range to go sit in any other decent position like E4 to be able to go spot out and spot any of these guys. I have to be aggressive. I have to get to an aggressive bush to spot. The other problem with the Lakeville middle road is the fact that the mobility and the handling of this tank is so unwieldy that realistically, I'm probably going to drown myself going on that middle road. It's the unfortunate nature of it. So I don't fire here. I could have fired at this Tiger 2 quite easily, got 2 shots of damage, run away and hit. He probably would have hit me, to be honest, because he would have snapshotted us. But I decided, you know what, I'm going to leave him spotted and see if any of these heavy tanks or medium tanks at the back on the K-line can spot him. But this EBR's coming in, and it's like, well, that guy's just going to spot me up, so I've got to go. We get a shot into him, try and shoot the Tiger 2 on the move. Swivel round. That one was intended. And now we've got the Tiger 2. We'll wait for the reload to go in. He is looking at us. It's like, well, no. We get unspotted. But he gets unspotted because, well, we don't have view range. We don't have enough view range, sorry, to spot him there. Spoilers, if we were in another light tank, we would be able to see that Tiger 2 all of the time from here. If we're in the Vanguard, we wouldn't be spotted. If we're in some of the other light tanks, he probably would have been able to see us, but it is what it is. We actually have shots at these Tigers from this position. Now, they're actually not the highest chance to pen from that distance, because our pen drops so much on the APCR that we would have struggled to pen those at distance. We did bounce one earlier, but it is what it is. We get a nice shot into the drive wheel of the Tiger 2. Unfortunately, don't track or pen him on the second shot. That's just the pen drop again, letting us down. Unfortunate as it is. But now we're going to drive into another position to get a better flanking shot at this Tiger 2. Now, he's driven out fully sideways on, and this is where our camo is fantastic. He is outside of our spotting, our detection range, and like I say, the camo is great. We can shoot this guy, not get spotted, it's fine. He does spot us that time, though, because we ended up moving slightly forward. Is what it is. We're up to 1,300 damage, 210 assistance. We know there's tanks in front of us over here. We just need to get after them. So we're still in the cruise mode because I want the accuracy. And now I activate the rapid mode for the speed to try and outmaneuver the gun of this T-43. And this is where I'm doing it right. I switch to the cruise mode to get the accuracy, pop both shots into the T-43, go for rapid mode, so I get the speed. And I didn't want to kill myself there, so I didn't switch modes. I knew I was going to take a hit, so I took the hit and dropped both shots into the T-43. We managed to finish that T-43 off. We're up to 2.1k damage, 210 assistance. We know where the rest of their tanks are. They're all in this valley. The artillery is going to get done by this Lycan, and we want to get now into a position where we can get up behind these tanks in the valley and get some lovely little shots into them. So, yeah, this is going to be the last replay with my commentary on it. The last one is an ace tanker that unfortunately didn't record because my controller disconnected, but it is a stream highlight, so it's just a highlight from when I played these tanks in the stream. You'll enjoy. I hope you enjoy it. You'll see what it took to ace it. It was a tier 10 game as well, which is kind of shows you a little bit what it's like in the tier 10 game. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. But we haven't done with this replay yet. We've got this general. We come charging in. It's hello, Mr. General. I'm here with my little dinky autoloader. He's reloading, which means I'm going to get more shots into him. Like I say, the reload on this tank is great. Now we can reverse full speed to get some shots into the back of this Patriot, or the T-26C5, which is the unskinned Patriot. Get 2 shots into him, and we're not going to get the finishing shot into this guy. And we'll finish the game with 457 assistance, 3,333 damage, the satisfying number. The epic victory would come top, 2 kills, 1,476 base XP, and the second class high caliber and Confederate. So yeah, this is the last replay of the tank. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the Ace Tanker gameplay that's coming up. Don't buy this tank, it's not that great. I'll see you all next time. Enjoy the stream highlight. Do get it, it's a tier 9 light tank, right? But we get crapped on by that, are you? And possibly the LTTB as well. But hey, we'll see how it goes. I think we're gonna go for the lighthouse. Are we gonna go for the light? No. We're gonna go through the middle. I genuinely haven't been able to, like, turn, please. No, I don't want to slide. Please, nobody come this way. Okay, the LCCB thought about it, but didn't do it. Oh. Gone? Okay, my controller is connect. What do you mean? Okay. My controller just decided it didn't want to stay connected to my Xbox anymore. It's interesting. It's not like my controller's switched off or anything. It was just legitimately like, no. I don't like your Xbox anymore. What if I don't want to... They have really pushed that way. Problem is, our pen over distance drops so much that we're struggling to pen the back of these tanks because of the angles. Hello, M48 120mm. Like, I can't pen this chisel. I just can't pen it. And he's gone because my view range is poo. You know what? We're going to go after Artie. And I don't care what's in that base. We're just doing it. Just turn, for Christ's sake. That's a 268. What's their Artie? T92. Okay. No, don't slide. Three, two. Oh, this is awkward. No, it's not. We're fine. Because magic. Bounced off his low plate. Oh, damn it. We're unfortunately never going to cap in time. Let's flick on the speed. Yeah, I have no idea. These are just so unwieldy to drive. Like, why does it just spins? It's like, why did you spin? You know? Like, disappointingly, that T-7 Heavy didn't give himself over that ridgeline enough. Yeah, I know they did. I know they did, Mr. Egg. I know they did. I ricocheted off his lower plate. Really? I mean, I know the angle's quite extreme, but come on. There we go. Yeah, I know that those first tests we did with them were awful. still, it's just, ugh. That was an ace, apparently. I suppose I was shooting tier 10s. To be fair. Just the control, so horrible. Like, it's just, ugh. Ugh. It only...
A great success!